Hi, baby. I love you.
I love
Are you sure?
you.
I know you are, silly. I love you. Are you too busy for me?
So that scene has started off a conversation on Reddit. As you can see, someone came up by saying, Ari with Harvey. Between the sheets, I can't be the only one very disturbed by the phone call with her son. He said, I love you. She replied, are you sure? As we saw. Then she asked him, are you too busy for me? This kid is 3. She's already emotionally manipulating him. I'm not on Benny's side either, but I've been very put off by her behavior so far. Listen, I definitely see what this person is saying here because, your child has told you that they love you, and yet you're asking for more reassurance of, are you sure? Then your child is obviously, doing something else, and then you're saying, oh, so are you too busy to speak to your own mother? I mean, listen, it depends how you look at it. Some people may look at it as, yeah, she's being manipulative. She's not being exactly, emotionally intelligent in this situation with her child. But then some people may see it as, oh, maybe she's just, child sick. Maybe she just misses her baby and she just wants a bit more attention. Now, here's the thing. Even if that was the case, maybe that is the case, it doesn't change the fact that she is still doing the emotional manipulating towards him, which isn't fair. Now, whether or not she's doing it because she's conscious of it or not, I don't know. Does it matter? No, because she should know that this is not how you should be conducting yourself with a child that is only 3 years of age. But here's the thing though. This is a woman that is struggling to get any form of love from her husband, from her baby father. And because she's not getting it in that way and she's not getting that reassurance from Benny, she obviously seeks that reassurances in other areas. And those other areas just happen to be her son. But should the son now be should she be putting this burden of her lack of love of her lack of receiving love from her partner onto her child? No, her child should not be the one to fill in that void, to fill in that gap. It is not fair in any kind of in any kind of shape or way. So realistically, she should really be looking at the situation, understanding that she's in the wrong to even put herself in this position to be speaking the way she's speaking, because it is not fair on her son, just because her husband, the father of her kid, is not giving her that same reassurance that she seeks in that scene. So I feel like it's important to obviously understand why her mind is processing this way. But that obviously tells you that she still has a lot of work to do in terms of understanding that she needs to finally run away from Benny and now start to really understand her relationship with her children, as well with her child, as well as anybody else in her life, because I can imagine this is a pattern that she does with anyone else in her life. I'm pretty sure when she speaks to her own parents, she probably asks them a few times, unless her parents are also people that have also lacked in giving her that reassurance as well. Either way, it doesn't mean her child should be the one that takes that place, because that is not fair on a 3-year-old child or any child of any age, to be honest with you. Now, with that being said, let's get into the comment section of what's going on in this thread here. So, as you can see, the person above here says, and I do apologize, I've got a sore throat, so I'm trying so hard to not cough and also not to clear my throat, but if I have to, I do apologize in advance, okay? Now, with that being said here, this person comes up by saying Ara is incapable of forming meaningful connections. It seems she needs therapy and to realize she can't control everything or anyone. Benny has zero interest in being with her. Now, of course, I agree that Benny has zero interest, but going back to what I was saying before, that relates to this comment here about her, having this incapable. I wouldn't say that she's incapable of forming meaningful connections. I would say that she is in a position where, regardless of the connection that she makes with people, she's always going to need extra reassurance because she has always lacked love from her partner and maybe even partners for her life. And that's something that's going to be a problem for her moving forward, especially if she's putting that pressure on her child. But maybe that does translate as the same as saying that she's incapable of forming meaningful connections. If anything, I would say she's probably incapable of forming connections with the right people, with the people that understand her. She probably goes for people that obviously don't really care for who she is. Let's put it that way. Now, of course, the person who made the post replied by saying, I agree. I think I remember her saying she's been in therapy her whole life. She maybe should get a new therapist. Now, here's my take on that. I think personally, if you have been in therapy for a certain amount of time, it could be any time, because for some people, it doesn't matter. If you've been in therapy for a certain amount of time, like whether that be years, months, or whatever, right? and there isn't been any much progression within yourself based on whatever goal you're looking for from a therapist. And generally speaking, I would imagine the whole idea of a therapist, regardless of why you're going to therapist, is definitely to help people build relationships with other people and be able to connect to other people and be able to understand other people, regardless of any agenda you do go for. Because it should be all linked. But point being is that if you have been with a therapist for a while and you still feel the need to still have to go back to your therapist, that tells me that one, you rely on your therapist too much. Two, you actually go there because you're actually looking for some form of validation too much. Okay. And here's the thing. For me personally, I feel like once you've been to a therapist long enough, that's long enough for you. And it's not, and you've now either plateaued within the journey with your therapist, or you just haven't progressed in general. That means your struggle in whatever you're going through in life isn't a struggle that you can get over by help from a therapist. It's a struggle that you can only get over by one, surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded like you, people who are not afraid to tell you when you are wrong or when you are right and all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, the best therapist, in my opinion, is a therapist of where you go on a journey of where you are trying to discover who you are without anybody telling you who you are or who you should be. Okay? Because here's the thing, for myself in particular, when I had to go through my own journey of healing from my own trauma, I've never had a therapist, just to clarify that, so if that matters to you, but to go through my own journey of healing from my own trauma, what I did was I looked at the things that made me happy throughout my years, looked at the things that obviously put me in positions that made me feel very uncomfortable, and then I said to myself, I now only want to chase things that one, made me happy, and two, the things that I always wanted to do but I never thought that I could do, and realizing that I could do them now. Okay, so that's what I did. But then the things that were obviously bringing me down, I looked at them and I said, okay, cool, how can I build mechanisms to protect me from these things whenever these things come after me? Because here's the thing, we can't always get away from everything. Some things are just there. So therefore I built mechanisms that help me protect me or get away from these things or suppress these things every now and then when it's needed. Okay, I hope I'm wording myself correctly, because I'm not trying to say that I'm not one to ever run away from my problems. I build mechanisms so I'm able to tackle them when they come, because there's a lot of problems that we have in this world that can be reoccurring. If you're somebody that has experienced depression or somebody who is depressed, anxiety, anybody who has been through that journey understands that once you have been depressed, that thing never goes away. It always stays, but you've just got to find ways to control it. Find ways to not allow it to consume you. Okay, that's why you build mechanisms, or at least that was my method anyway. So here's the thing with Ari. Her situation here is that she's unable to understand that she needs to be around people who give her the reassurance that she needs, but also around people that also can tell her when she's being a bit too much, and also needs to be around people who can basically give her enough reassurance that she doesn't actually always need to seek it from them all the time, because she has to be able to build that independence of only seeking reassurance from herself. Clearly, she is not good enough for herself. That's why she needs to ask for the extra love. That's why she needs to ask for, are you sure? Because she does not have it within herself. She needs to go for that journey where she understands how to love and appreciate herself and understand that she's good enough for herself. And therefore, she wouldn't be putting this pressure onto her kids. That's just my take anyway. Now, with that being said, let's see what else had to be said as well. So in the same thread, this person responding says, she does seem to believe she can force Benny into treating her affectionately. Doesn't care that she makes any annoying ass of herself, as long as she gets what she wants. And this is the thing. This is a part of anxiety, to be fair. This is a part of anxiety. From my understanding is, if you've ever seen the film Inside Out, if you've seen Inside Out #2, that one, it touches so well on anxiety, to be honest, if you for kids to be able to understand. But if you saw that film, right, you will also understand that when you are anxious, when your anxiety is playing a part as your main character in your brain, it makes you do things that can seem annoying to others, and it can make you do things that can also make you seem very desperate. And you do these things because you're trying to get that validation, trying to get that person to want you, to love you, to support you. So therefore, you do things to get what you want. Even when it's not working, you keep trying to do those things. It's all a part of that anxiety part of ourselves. Okay? Again, if you've ever seen that film, I highly recommend it. And please watch it with your kids. In fact, watch #1 and 2 with your kids. And I would say personally, watch it the first time, both of them the first time with your kids, right? And just watch it casually. And then after that, I would personally quiz your kids. I would then watch it again with them and say to them, hey, do you know what this means? Do you know what that means? Because therefore you're actually helping them understand how the human mind works, and therefore you're saving your kids from potentially having to go through therapy when they're older themselves. To be honest with you, and let's be real, nobody wants to waste their money on a therapist for most of their life anyway. Come on now. And to be fair, no one really should want to be in a position. This may trigger some people, but no one should want to be in a position where they feel the need. They have to go and see someone to tell them, about themselves, when the greatest power that we have is actually discovering in a way that we can understand ourselves better, if that makes sense. But hey, if you're triggered by that or you disagree, that's up to you. I'm just saying, I'm not one to really rely on somebody else to tell me my thing. I'm definitely someone who enjoys having people around me who can tell me when I'm wrong and who can advise me when I've lost my way. 100%. But those people we call friends, they come for free. Anyway, with that being said, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think about Ari? Do you believe that she was being emotionally manipulative to her child here? Okay, and I've explained why I believe she has been. I think it's easy to say that she is, but I think it's also important to say why we believe she is, rather than just attack. Because if we attack, then what are we learning from her? What are we actually learning, and what are we maybe teaching her if she was to ever come across this content? Because she needs to be taught that her actions are not correct. Okay, she needs to be taught that maybe having a therapist of all these years really ain't doing nothing for her. Some people do truly benefit from therapists, others truly don't. And clearly, she may be one of those people who obviously doesn't. So maybe this video can be her therapist. Nonetheless, though, see you guys in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and of course, peace.